Hey, good morning and happy Sunday. Today I thought we would do something a little bit different. I had someone send me their coloring, and it was gorgeous. And she was a little concerned that she didn't really understand light source and shadows yet. And I'm just looking here. I had my pencils and I moved them. Here they are. Just so I just wanted to go over some light source instructions. As you can see, here's something I colored. This was done with Copics, and for her, the big issue was her hair, and this image took me a very long time to color because I did take it very easy, went very slow. I did, each piece of her hair and really took my time coloring her. Let me just pull this off so I can bring her closer. So you can see she was a white image. She's a digital image, so I was able to photocopy her, print her out. But so that is colored in Copics and taking my time. So let's talk about light source and shadows. Now, when it comes to your basic light source, it's really a very important aspect of your coloring. It is a hard topic to learn, and you're just going to need to practice. And actually, when it comes to coloring, who doesn't like to practice? I know I do. I love when even Stampin' Up! Comes out with new stamp sets that have lots of space to color. It's very exciting. So, let's talk about light source. Wherever you're sitting right now, there is light all around you. As the light hits different objects in the room around you, you'll notice that some items are darker than others. Some are illuminated more. There's things in the shadow. I mean, sitting right here, my light source, and I'll use my pencil here. Let's use something else so we'll use the scissors, and here's my pointer. So I have a light source that is directly above me on my desk here because it's a craft box. So there is a light directly above me. I also have a light over my left shoulder behind me. That doesn't really hit me that much. And then I have light to the left of me where my computer screen is. Right now it's still dark outside, so there's no light coming in through the window. So my major light source is above me. Excuse me. Now, you have to understand that if you have light, you must also have dark. And your darkness is your shadows. Okay? Now, a shadow, as everyone knows, is the areas of the object that are getting little or no light. So if we're going to use this piece of paper here as our demonstration. And I'm going to hold my scissors up. Now you can see on the scissors There's contours on the scissors. This piece of the scissor lays down a little bit. So you'll notice that right here, it's very, very bright because that's where the light is hitting. You'll notice on the handles, the black is lighter. And then it's what? It is casting a shadow onto this piece of paper because the light cannot get through the scissors, so it casts your shadow. Now, the contrast between this light and your shadow, that's what makes the object look three-dimensional, okay? That same contrast also allows you to see the distance between the objects in the room. This way you get a sense of depth perception. So let's bring this image back in and we'll use her as an example. We know that even though this is a flat image, that a person, a doll, a stuffed animal, is not flat when you hold it. The nose, or this part of the, got a little piece of hair on my scissors, or this part of the face is going to be lighter because it protrudes out from the face. And then as you go down towards the sides of the face, they're rounded, so it's going to be darker on this side. Same thing with the hair. Here, I was thinking that the light was coming this way, so here's my highlight, the very top of her head, and I rounded it because her head is round. Here, under her face, I know that this hair is pushed back because her head is here. So if we say use this, and don't, let's pull this off. My glue is so disgusting. Okay, let me just see. This is the best object to use right now. Okay, so we'll use this as an example, and we'll put the scissors behind, okay? So this would be, we'll pretend that this is her face, and let's do it this way. This is her face, and this is her hair. So her hair is further back than her face, and you'll notice that the scissor handles are darker than this front piece, okay? That's how you can show that there is depth or distance between the front of the face and the hair. So that's why on her hair, you'll notice that it's dark right here and right here, because I wanted to, excuse me, push it back to show that her face is in front. You'll notice here on her hair too, this piece is behind and it's lighter than this piece here because this is on top. Same with this. It's a tad lighter than this piece because this is way in the front. Oops. And we'll head over here. Here's the dark piece that I wanted to push back. This piece is a little lighter and it's casting a shadow. And then this little curl is lighter yet. So it's giving you depth. So you can see that it's not flat, okay? So we're going to break it down a little bit. And I'm going to pull in this illustration. This is our object right here. We're going to say it's a ball, okay? Now the highlight, which is right here. So on this, for this ball, our light source is coming in this way. So as it's coming into the piece of paper, where is it going to hit? It is going to hit this piece of the ball right here first. Now you have to remember that it's rounded. So let's use let's use this as an example. I'll hold it up because my light source is over top and it's actually back a little further. So since my light, we got a round object, since my light is over top, you can see, here's my highlight. So if I was to turn this, it's right about here. That's the highest point of this round object. So that is your highlight. Now, that's the brightest part of your coloring, and that is where the light hits that is closest to your light source. Okay? Now, the same thing with a pencil. If I put this pencil here, the place that is the closest to the light, where that light is hitting first, and this pencil, it's not really, okay, there we go. Where it's hitting first is your highlight. So can you see that light? That is the very top of the pencil. That is my highlight. Okay? So that's our highlight. Now, I always talk about Stampin' Blends only has a light and a dark marker. So when it comes to getting your mid-tone, something that is between these two, it gets a little harder. Now, our mid-tone is the actual color of the object. Okay? So, it is the color of the image that is not affected by the highlight or the shadow. So for her, this color right here, this brown here, on her jacket, it's this green. And then you'll see 3 different colors of green. That is the basic color. So let's use these Highland Heather markers. Let me see if I have a piece of scrap paper that I could use. Yeah, let me just grab a piece of paper out of the trash. And this is actually not even white paper. It's off-white, but that's okay. So we know we want Highland Heather, but we do not have a dark Highland Heather. We just have the light and the dark, okay? That's why I usually pull in a, let's say, gray marker. And I'm going to see if this is dark enough. It should be. Let's see. You remember, I like to test. It's not too bad. It's not dark enough, I don't think. And I think working on this gray paper is hindering. Let me just grab a little scrap of white. I must have a piece here. There we go. That's much better. And I'm going to just pull the camera down, so don't mind me for a second if it goes out of focus. Okay. So, I'm not Copics. Blends have the dark and the light markers. Now, we need a mid-tone because the mid-tone of any object is the actual true color of the object. And again, I don't have anything really big sitting here that we could use as a sample. Let's see. Okay, let's use this. So we know that if we pull our light Highland Heather marker and we have this marker in the light, we know what color this marker is. We know it's the Highland Heather. We'll use this cap right here as our sample. Now, do you see this light mark here? That's our highlight. Okay, it's lighter than the original color, and we'll say this is right here. That is Highland Heather, light Highland Heather. So that is our mid-tone, the actual color of this cap. So we need a color that is lighter. And then if we jump over here, we can see that it's darker. That is our shadow. Okay? So you need actually 3 colors. You need your mid-tone, actual color. You need a darker color, which is your shadow, the darkest part of the image. That is where little or no light is hitting. You can have a hard line of shadow, or it may even have a gradual changing of color. So, and we'll use again this. Here's our highlight. Here it is right here, very dark. But in the center, it is a gradual change of color because it's showing you that this is rounded. So you would start, here's your highlight up here, and then it slowly gets darker, okay? We'll put it down on our piece of paper. I'm going to bring it up just a little. So here's our highlight. Our mid-tone would be right next to it. Here's our shadow on the piece of paper. And you'll notice that the side of the marker has a little bit of a reflection. It's light before it gets dark here. You see that? So you'll notice that usually I will not go right to the line. I want my actual color to be right there. Okay? So now that we know that we need a highlight, we need a mid-tone, actual color, and then we need a darker color for the shadow. What kind of shadows actually are there? So let's go back to this. Here's our highlight. That's the brightest part of the ball. Right here in the center, that is our mid-tone, the actual color of this ball. And that now that it's round, the color is gradually getting darker, creating a shadow. And then here is, like I always say, that reflection. We're going to jump right back to the actual color because the light is going past it, casting the shadow, and it's bouncing back onto this ball. So, what is a cast shadow? A cast shadow shows the distance between your objects, okay? This is the shadow that is that the object creates on another surface. So this is a perfect example. Whoops. I'm going to move this down. Sorry about that. So here's our object. It's casting our shadow right here on our piece of paper. And we can see that it's a little further away from the paper because of this whiteness right here. So we know it's not laying on the paper. As I bring it down towards the paper, you can see that that cast shadow is changing until it's right there on the paper, okay? So your cast shadow, you'll notice that it's not a solid color, okay? It's blocking the light source onto this piece of paper, and again, the cast shadow, the darkest of this, it's not a solid shadow, okay? And it is darkest to the object. You'll see how it's getting dark as I'm bringing this down. This line here is getting very dark. I should keep this on this side. Okay, so you can see it's very dark. Here's our reflection, and then it's very dark. And then the further away this object gets from casting that shadow, you can see the color changing closer to the marker. Can you see that? Now, let's see if I have another picture here. All right, let's use this now. Changing our direction of our light. Here's our object. Here's our cast shadow. Now, there is also a form shadow, and that is the shadow that is on the object opposite the light source. So it's this right here. That is your form shadow, and it's less defined and it's softer. Excuse me. Softer than the cast shadow. So let's use her as an example. Okay. Let's see if I can get this so you can see it. So you can see under here, maybe you can't. See, this is a little tougher because my light is over top, okay? Let's do her this way. Okay. Here's the cast shadow. You can see it on the paper. That's the cast shadow. Now, if she was 3D, let's try it this way. Here's our cast shadow on the ground. Underneath here is where the form shadow is. It is lighter than the cast shadow. And it's created by the light that's not reaching around the object where it is thrown by the blocked light. Okay, so we said highlight, midtone, shadow. Do you see this right here? That is our cast shadow, because the light source is, this is our cast shadow. This is our form shadow. This is showing you that this is a round object. Our cast shadow here is very dark. Here is the reflection, okay? And that is the light that is coming around the object, casting the shadow, bouncing back off of the table and back onto our ball. So this right here, this form shadow is showing you that even though it's on a flat surface, it is a round ball, okay? That gives it that three-dimensional look. So now that we have that all figured out, let's just for a minute, and I don't even have one in here. I should have brought one in. Let's think about a bowl for a minute, okay? It's sitting on top of your table, right in front of you. And our light source is about, and we'll use this one right here, 2 o'clock, okay? The right side top edge of the bowl will be what? In the direct light. So that will be the highlight. Well, let's use this for example. See if this will work. No, the reflection's bad. Okay, so 2 o'clock light source. Here is the top edge of the bowl. That is the highlight. Now, to the left of this object, or to the left of your bowl, right on top of the table, is your cast shadow. That's this right here. It's darkest under the bowl, and as it heads outward, it's going to be lighter. The parts of the bowl that are not directly in the direct light is what is casts your form shadows, okay, right here. So we know this is round. It's going to be darkest here, and it is going to get lighter as we go around this ball, okay? When you're coloring, if you or even looking at something, if you want to help you look at the darker and lighter areas of an object, you just can't understand where the highlights are going to go. If you squint at the object, it'll make it much clearer to see those darker and lighter areas. Now remember, shadows are simply not black. They're not black. They're just darker colors or darker areas, a darker value of color than the object. So let's pull in these markers again, okay? And I'm going to use the nib. Blends only have light and dark, so I'm going to use the light for my highlight. I'm going to use the dark for my mid-tone or the actual color of the object. And then I'm going to pull in some dark gray granite because that's the darkest I have right now. I could use blue as my shadow. So let's just add some color to this piece. That is the actual color of my image. Okay? Now, here, whoops, is my highlight. Now for this one, here is my shadow. So you'll notice now we have 3 tones to this color: highlight, midtone, shadow. Okay? That'll give you an idea of how to add your shadows. And I didn't even stamp anything, but we'll use this as an example. Okay? I know it's going to be dark right here. So here is a shadow. And I shouldn't have put it right at the line. Let's do that again. Remember to always color with a piece of paper underneath. So here's our light source. Here's our shadow. Okay. Here's the original color of the ball. And we're going to extend it out past that shadow. And it still is not dark enough. Let me see if I can pull some blue in instead so you can actually see. That's better. There's our shadow. Okay. Now our highlight, we're going to add it on this side. And then we're going to add it here. You can even leave a white space so it looks like that's a highlight. Then you're going to go back and just extend the purple a little bit. Okay? So now this object is on a table. Okay? The light is coming in. You're going to have a dark shadow, and it's going to be rounded. It's not going to be flat. Where's my light gray? Here it is. I should have made this not as dark. Not as big there. So it aids in, and I shouldn't have made this so wide. It aids in showing that this is a 3D object, okay? Now, like we said, shadows are created when the object is untouched by light, okay? So, looking at this, here's our light, here's our object. What was this? Our form shadow, and here's the shadow that it casts. Because you can see that the light stops and is blocked by the object. So I hope that explains basic light sources and shadows for you a little better. And I will hop on in a day or two and we'll color our Santa in pencils. I have to sharpen up. I would do it now, but I need to sharpen up my pencils, and we will take care of that one day during the week. So enjoy your Sunday. I hope everybody enjoyed that little lesson and it helped you understand light, shadows, midtone, cast shadows. Have a great day. Bye-bye.